Good evening, everybody. This is a call to order for the regular board meeting, the Bridgeport Board of Education. Today's Monday, May 12th, and it is 6:35. We have a quorum. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to take roll call. Christine Baptiste Perez. Albert Benahan Grajales.
I'm here.
Lakeisha Casimir.
Here.
Maritza Shamira Jimenez. Whitley Medina.
Here.
Jennifer Perez is here. Joseph Sokolovic.
Present.
Robert Traber. Andre Woodson. We have a quorum. The next item on the agenda is the student representative reports. Christian, you can go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Christian Bika, and I am the student representative for Central High School. All right, and to report right now, prom tickets are on sale, and our prom is to be May 30th at Cascades in Hamden. This is also the last week of advanced placement testing, and for last week, NGSS testing took place for all 11th graders. As of now, we can confirm that our graduation is June 13th at our Kennedy Stadium at 6 p.m. Central also sent 5 students to the Hartford Capitol last Thursday to advocate for Bridgeport to get more funding. I was also a part of this group. And for sports, spring sports so far are going very well. Boys volleyball is going to qualify for the state championship, and girls and boys track are both doing very well, and many individuals will qualify for the postseason games. Central also held a FAFSA luncheon for seniors who completed their FAFSA applications, and a career trade fair was also hosted at Kennedy Stadium last week. Central Magnet itself also held a very successful Magnet Acceptance Day on the 30th. Parent conferences were also a success in April, and NHS, National Honor Society, we held our best blood drive of the year last week, collecting many pints of blood to fill the requirements. And for upcoming events, we have many award ceremonies, and these include events like the NHS induction, scholarship award giveouts, college decision day, the honor roll ceremony, declaring the top 25 students of the class of 2025. And as of now, students are still receiving full rides or full academic scholarships to prestigious colleges, and many of these students are from the Central Magnet program. And we also hope to hold a very in-depth teacher appreciation week when we think of the future. And scheduling for all our classes, it's been well underway, and many people are beginning to make their final decisions of what they want to take next year. And on a final note, teachers, they are meeting in pathway groups so that they could help plan for student success and increase post-secondary opportunities for many of Central students. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other student representatives here? I don't see any online. I just want to say Christian and to Christian and to others who joined us, who went to the Capitol last week, and thank you. And you know, I was very proud of what you guys were doing up there. They were able to meet with 3 of our representatives, 2 of our senators, and share, you know, their thoughts of this budget crisis and also what they need for the district. I really think that you know, you guys did really well up there. I just want to commend you guys for coming up. Thank you. Moving on, I don't see any other student representatives, so we will move on to public comment. We have 1 speaker. We have Senator Gakar Wilcox.
It's already on? Yep. Oh yeah, great. All right, hi everyone, good evening.
I'm Sujata Gadkar-Wilcox, the newest senator for Bridgeport, Trumbull, and Monroe. So very excited to be here. I'm also an educator. I'm a faculty member at Quinnipiac University, and I teach constitutional law and human rights law. And I said this story a couple of times, but education is really sort of at the heart of what I do and why I came into politics in the first place. So I'm here to speak about the new schools, but you know, just so people who don't know me yet know, you know, my father grew up really poor in India and was able to come to the United States because of access to education. And so my whole career as an educator has always been, first as a lawyer, has been committed to public interest law, and then as an educator to access, to make sure that students have the opportunity to get what everywhere in the world we know is a fundamental human right, and that's the right to an education. And so I'm going to continue to advocate for that in the legislature. Thank you to all of the incredible students that came up for Student Advocacy Day. We were so honored to welcome you in the Senate chamber and just to see you advocating up there, along with members of the Board of Education and members from the Bridgeport Public Schools and teachers and friends and colleagues and parents. It was an incredible day. And what we need right now is for the public to come together for that as well. I also wanted to just say a quick thank you for all the members of the again, the Board of Education and the Bridgeport Public Schools that were at the community conversation on Friday at Trumbull Gardens Community Center. And thank you to all the parents that took the time to come out to really express your concerns. And there are many, and at the root of a lot of them is funding. So that's what I wanted to be here to talk about. Education is my commitment, and even on the legislature, I'm the chair of the new Special Education Committee. I'm a member of education, and I'm also vice chair of higher education. And I think it's really important that we think of education as a continuum. So whatever we can do to increase funding for early intervention programs, that's going to help general education. Whatever we can do to help special education is also going to help, right? General education, early intervention programs will help general education, and that should connect all the way through to higher education. So for me, we have to think of these things all together. When it comes to the Special Education Committee, you know, we heard the call of districts that we are already in a funding crisis, so we put an emergency funding in a few months ago of $40 million, and 1.8 million of that came to Bridgeport already. So I'm so glad that we were able, that was initially, at least to respond to the calls of districts. We definitely need to do more. So all this advocacy, and I know there's another advocacy day coming up, May 19th. So we look forward to welcoming you in Hartford on May 19th to say that we need more for the schools. I'm just here, I'm just here to advocate for the new construction for particularly the Skane project that may be able to be repurposed into a special education school. One of the things we're looking for in what we're trying to do with the Special Education Committee is, where feasible, we'd love to incentivize districts to create and build their capacity for in-district programming where they're able to address the needs of students. The needs of students absolutely come first. So some students may not be able to be served in the district, but for those students who can be served in the district, and where districts can build schools that will help keep those students in district, there will be a number of incentives for that as well. And so I just wanted to lend my voice here in support of how valuable I think it will be to then promote and to build a school that can help bring those students back into district and to support other students in district. One, I just want to see the priority is that that'll serve the needs of the students, I think, in a way that will be very profound. And secondarily, I think in the long run, it will also help in terms of savings. So it'll be a huge funding increase. And again, only where it's possible and feasible, we want to try to build that in-district capacity so students can be in their communities. And so I wanted to lend my support to that. And I wanted to let everyone who's here know if there's anything, and of course the Board of Education members already know this, you can always reach out to me because this is my absolute priority. So anything I can do for education, any questions that people have, you can always reach out, and I'll be here to lend my voice to support. So I want to thank you all very much. I'm glad to be here for a little while. There are a few other meetings, so I'll be in and out, but I just wanted to be here to lend my voice to support this school project. And thank you again for all that you're doing to support students in schools. And thank you, parents, everybody that's here. This is our most critical issue right now, is focusing on education and supporting it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Point of personal privilege, I would like to thank the senator for hitting the ground running already bringing us back $1.8 million and potentially another $5.8 million in $124 that is currently making its way through in the addition. And I know y'all got your sights set on something more, and I hope we do get that, but you're doing your job, and thank you. I don't often compliment politicians up here. It's a very rare thing for me, but kudos.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on agenda is the approval of minutes. The first one is special meeting minutes from April 21st, 2025. Is there a motion to approve those? Is
Motion to approve the minutes from April 21st, 2025.
there a second? Second by Mr. Traber. Any debate on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes. The next item is the approval of minutes from the regular meeting on April 28th, 2025. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from April 28th, 2025.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Traber. Any questions on that? Great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That one passes. All right, the next thing on our agenda item is the chairman's report. We're gonna do a quick update on the status of the board training. I know I updated the last meeting, so just want to say that our that we did receive a letter from the state, and I've forwarded it to the board members last week. So just on the progress that we've been making and the team has been making at the central office. So make sure you take a look at that email. Our next board training is going to be May 19th. And that is going to be focused on goals. And then our final training for now will be the June 2nd, and that'll be on community engagement. So I'm encouraging you all to be sure you're attending those trainings. And that's the update on the training. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take time, I'd like to introduce this one. We want to welcome Principal Ramos and the team from Discovery here and the parents and families. Let Dr. Avery take over.
Principal Ramos, can you and your family join us at the podium? And how about your team get behind you too? That's even better, right? That you guys, I think this is a really, very special moment I know for him and I have been talking a little bit about the recognition. I was very instrumental in having a conversation with the state team as they came to the district to evaluate the candidates for this particular award. It gives me great pleasure. I know as a superintendent, as you come into a district and you try to support and train administrators to be great administrators, right? And Mr. Ramos has, I think it's in his blood, it's in his family. I know that, but he, when I interviewed him last year for the principal at Discovery, it just things just struck at me to where, this guy has potential to be a really, really great leader. And everything that he set forth this whole school year has been very instrumental to progress, right? And after everything this district has been through, you got one guy that's all about making sure he does great things for his children in the building, his own children, his family. I know he's a family guy, and he always talks about what's important for his staff. And so, again, it gives me great pleasure to provide you with a certificate, and I want the board to join me as well. Really honoring you as a first-year principal. It takes a lot to be at the forefront of leading the building, understanding, coming to the district for the first time. I think he heard about the district. His dad was in the district for a while. So I think as a young boy growing up, he was probably, behind the scenes, understanding about Bridgeport, but he wanted to come here. When I recruited him from a different district, I said, "Do you really want to be here?" He said, "Oh yeah, this is where I want to be." So he's here. I'm just grateful that he took me up on the opportunity to come here. I know you have a great future ahead of you, and I will support that. I know this district will support you in any way that we can as well. But again, we want to thank you for being a part of the Bridgeport family, and many more of these opportunities are going to come your way, and just capture it and make good for not only for yourself, for your family, and for this district. So we appreciate you very, very much. So thank you for that. So can you guys join me to your principals before? Yeah, it's a great honor. I know there's a lot of things that you're going to be doing over the next year, representing not only for the district, but also represent very well. Y'all can do that, and there are all the great things that's happening in Bridgeport. Yeah, a great voice. This community, we appreciate. Remember, you guys are also, part of this celebration because you guys capture what a leader has for you, and you give it back. So thank you guys for being part of it and being on the side with him and marching this march with him. Thank you.
Yeah, so that.
Like, I don't
we have
know.
some board members on
They'll hear me. I just want to say in front of the board and in front of anybody that's watching online, just how honored I am to be the principal at Discovery Magnet. You can see here that we are a community, we're a family. Sometimes people just say that gets thrown out a little too much. But when we say that we're a Discovery, a Dragon family, we mean it. And you can see it by the people that are here, right? We have a number of staff here, a bunch of parents, we have community support, community partners. That's who we are. And we'll never stop fighting for what's right. I think everybody in this room knows exactly what I mean, that we will never, ever stop fighting for what's right. We understand that the district's in a tight spot, but with the budget, and we're going to do everything that we can to continue to advocate. But we can't have things change in what we're doing. What we have going on at Discovery is absolutely special. It took me a couple days to realize this is a magical place. You go back to my Facebook post. It was like 3 days in, I was like, Discovery's a magical place, right? It truly is remarkable, and we need to stay whole. We need to stay whole in every way possible. So we're here, and my team is here to show the support for this award because we've all earned it. But we're also here to say to the board, say to the district, say to the community that we need to stay whole because we've worked hard to be where we are. All right, thank you.
Was your whole crew. We're gonna take a quick recess so that we can clear the room for a minute.
Room for a 5-minute recess.
Mr. Sakalovic made the motion.
Madam Chair. Mr. Ramos, before you go,
We just have a motion for a recess. So we have a motion for a recess.
I have a point of personal privilege.
Go ahead.
Before you go, I just want the Discovery family to understand, and Mr. Ramos said it, and what we're fighting for in Bridgeport is to make sure every child in Bridgeport gets to go to a magic place. There's no reason that every school in Bridgeport can't be a magic place. And that's what we're fighting for, is to make sure every child has a chance to have a school like yours. So let's try and make that happen for every child in Bridgeport. Thank you.
There's been a motion to recess. Under the second, all in favor, say aye. We'll have a 5-minute recess. Alrighty, thank you. All right, we are back. It's 6:59. I just want to acknowledge Ms. Baptiste Perez has joined online. All right, the next item on the agenda is committee reports. The first committee will be Finance Committee. We have not met since the last board meeting. We will be meeting next Wednesday, the 21st. And I'll take any referrals. Seeing no referrals.
Oh,
Go ahead, Mr. Sokolovich.
adding back in the unlikely event that we get additional funding, just to prioritize the funds. We should have it as a preliminary discussion. We should have the preliminary discussion of prioritizing what to bring back if we have additional funding, because we do need to vote on that as well. If we cut it, we could vote to bring it back.
Any other referrals? The Instruction Support Services Committee, Mr. Traber.
We haven't met since the last meeting. We're meeting on the 28th, and so I have nothing further to report. Yeah, that's it.
Are there any referrals to the Instruction Support Services Committee? Okay, seeing none, the Policy and Personnel Committee, Mr. Medina. We'll come back to Mr. Medina. Facilities Committee will meet, or I'm sorry, we met last Wednesday on the 7th. Yes, the 7th. We discussed two items that are on today's agenda, the ed specifications for new constructions for the East End Elementary School and for the specialized program. Those are coming before you today. Are there any referrals for the next Facilities Committee?
When is next one?
That's a good question. Next Facilities Committee is scheduled for the 4th. There is, however, a graduation that day. So I'm going to look into either scheduling it early in the day or a different day. So I will get back to you guys by the next board meeting on the next Facilities Committee.
Just for the record, too, that day is the last day of the session.
Okay.
Too, so would be a good day to reschedule from.
Okay.
Um,
All right, and since seeing no referrals, I don't know if Mr. Medina's back on.
Yes, I'm here late.
All right, so we're on your committee.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just heard for my attendance, but I am here. William Medina, with Facilities and Personnel. Last meeting, we successfully pushed forward over 9 policies. We have not had our meeting this month. It'll be this Wednesday. Once again, this Wednesday. I received from Mr. Stacky multiple, so we should be well ahead of our schedule for those policies that were state mandates that we've been working on. Dr. Avery's team has worked diligently, and then right now I received that list this morning. So that will be moving forward to the next agenda, including one of the other referrals that was referred through one of the other board members. And that is my update. We look forward to also adding some of the other ones that are recommendations through CABE, and we'll be working through that, in the beginning of the year, most likely, because I don't think we'll have another meeting. That is my report. If anybody has any referrals, please speak now. If not, I'll pass it over to you, Madam Chair.
Any referrals for policy and personnel? I also want to acknowledge that there has been a committee change. Policy personnel now has, I have dropped from that committee, so Maritza Estremera Jimenez is taking my spot. I just want to acknowledge that for the board members.
Yes, thank you. I missed that. Appreciate it.
Maritza is taking my spot on that committee. All right. The CABE report.
I'm sorry, no updates. Sorry, I'm just texting you.
No updates on the CABE report. Next item is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. I have a really quick superintendent report today. I wanted to kind of emphasize last week, Thursday, we had approximately about 40 students join a couple of board members, myself, and my staff, executive staff, to Hartford for Student Advisory Day. I can tell you it was probably one of the best or rewarding days in my 30-plus years as a school superintendent, to see the kids advocate for the things that they felt they needed to advocate for Bridgeport Public Schools. They did an amazing job. They were dressed to impress. They added value to the conversation, not only with other school superintendents and their cabinets, but like senators. They had a chance to kind of, meet with several delegates. They had speeches that they provided for them and performed for them as well. We had two student members from each of the schools that was represented. We also had 2 middle school kids represented there and did a really, really good job in their advocacy speeches as well. I want to thank Tim and John Carlo at Communications Department. They did an excellent job of coordinating that for us. Getting the buses. I think Marge Hughes was very instrumental in working with some of the other district executive staffs to be able to support the effort. So thank you again, Marge, on that as well. But it was one of those opportunities, guys, that really made us proud. And I know board members, if you were there, you would probably join in the effort to say, job well done, students, job well done. My additional item for my superintendent report is that I really want to take a moment to really talk about May 19th. May 19th is the Bridgeport Day at the Capitol. We are providing transportation to community members. We are also providing, the city is also providing meals for individuals that go up to Hartford with us. We've secured 4 buses to be able to take community members to Hartford on that particular day, get them back in time. We're also providing students that will be going to advocate for us as well, with an excused absence opportunity for them to advocate with their parents. So we want to bring the parents together with their children to do a family advocacy opportunity as well. So this will give, again, an opportunity for Bridgeport to really show the need and for us to come together as a community to be able to advocate for additional dollars. The day is going to be Bridgeport Blue. So wear your Bridgeport Blue to Hartford to be able to kind of go. So again, I think it's important. We are also partnering with some community organizations to support this effort. And so we're working with some community partners to be able to make sure that the more people that we can get, the better. And so I'm advocating, I'm pushing. There should be a phone blast that probably went out 5 minutes ago to our community and our families. We're going to push it all the way through until Monday morning. So tell your friends, your neighbors, your family members, we need your support to get out there and advocate for Bridgeport on May 19th. I'll take any referrals.
Questions for Dr. Avery, Mrs. Pavlovic?
Yes, some questions and some well, no questions, just basically comments on this report. I'm very happy about this effort for May 19th. Getting very well put together. We got the Spanish flyer and the English flyer. This is a call to action for everybody who has stood in front of this. I've been here 7 years. I've had advocacy group after advocacy group standing at that microphone when it's too late, when the cuts have already been made, when the budgets have already been set. These budgets are not set in stone yet. There's still time to save your children from walking 2.5 miles. There's still time to save your children from walking 1.5 miles. There's still time to save the kindergarten paraprofessionals so that teachers can have help in their classroom. There is still time, but people got to act. Everybody listen to my voice, hears it, and they want to take action. Talk to your pastor, talk to your clergy. They sure enough get involved in politics around election time. Ask them to take a van up. We need to surround the Capitol. We need to show numbers. We need to show them we're serious or they're not going to pay attention to us. Thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Avery, Mr. Traber?
I want to concur about how great a day last week was. We had a magnificent showing on the part of our high school students and our one pre-K3 student. And it really was great to have 200, over 200 students from around the state up there bouncing around in their different groups, talking to their different reps. And it made an impact in Hartford. And Bridgeport led the way. And that was impressive. So I really enjoyed that. Now my understanding next week is we're also trying to work out arrangements with students to come up there and make it an educational experience, working out credit arrangements or with their teachers so that they can get some learning experience, make it translated into, because it was truly an educational experience last week for the students that went up there. The shot that was put on the website was them in the Senate chambers with the Lieutenant Governor and a number of senators, not just the Bridgeport senators, but senators from all over the state who spoke to them, including the Lieutenant Governor in the Senate chambers. And that was quite impressive and quite an experience, not one they'll get very often. And so I think that Bridgeport Day will be a great experience for them too. And how the lobbying works and being able to talk to the reps and the senators. It's just a unique experience for them. So have we worked it out so that classes where that is a relevant experience, they'll be able to come up on the bus, the students? And then have we worked it out so that parents will be able to bring their children with them if they want to come up and lobby?
Yes, sir. That's one of the things we talked about, the absence thing. So as long as we can kind of coordinate that with my staff that's going to be on those buses and getting them to and from, we will work that out individually to make sure that we can kind of provide some type of accommodations for them as well.
And the State Department of Ed is going to help make sure we don't count that as that's an acceptable absence.
Okay. Madam Chair, I also want to I want to thank I want to make sure that Representative Rosario and Felipe for spending some quality time with the students as well. They sat there and listened to their speeches, and some of them were very, very powerful. I also want to thank Mayor Ganem for joining the students up there for a brief period of time as well, for him to kick off the initial advocacy day as well. So again, overall was a great showing, and just wanted to kind of emphasize that as well.
Not to ignore the fact that Senator Garrett-Wilcox was in there with us too.
Absolutely.
Let's not.
Can't forget her either.
They came into the chamber and listened to the students, the Bridgeport students speak about Bridgeport issues. She joined us briefly, but then she had to go upstairs to a vote in the Senate chambers. And they sat there for a long time listening to the students. I agree.
Yes.
And they should be given due credit.
Yes.
And Senator McCarthy.
Representative McCarthy Behe.
Yes, came in, came in with us also.
Seeing no other questions for Dr. Ray, we will.
I do.
Oh. Mr. Woodson,
I just want to say,
get your mic on. Thank you.
I just want to say that I hope that I love to see that the kids are up there advocating on behalf of themselves, because it's, it's for them. But I just hope that the kids know that the exact reason that they're advocating for money, not just up there asking for money. There's a unfair funding formula that's used in Connecticut that goes off of property values. And I'm hoping that the kids are educated on the whole situation about it, know who gets what and why they get it. Because I think if we advocate smartly and pinpoint our advocation, we could get what we need, not just advocating for Bridgeport, but advocating for all urban districts that get underfunded by the unfair formula. So I think that's what I want to say.
Madam Chair, thank you for that. I think that you made a very, very important point, because my team, had an opportunity to spend some time with the students regarding the advocacy piece and why. The long time coming of being able, fighting for the things that we should have had years ago, and not just asking for money. And I think the beauty of the whole day was that you had all of the large 5 or 6 large urban school districts and some other ones. Those students were there for the same reasons, about how that formula was actually, developed years ago, and how inadequate it has been ever since. And the time is now, due to the surplus of dollars that the governor has at his exposure, to be able to give back a little bit. So we made a point of making sure that we did that prior to them writing their speeches and writing their advocacy notes. So again, because I think that's very important, because not just for asking for money, but why are they asking for it? And I think having a true understanding of what that is a learning point that we didn't want to miss, right? So thank you for that.
Mr. Benahan?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. My apologies to come late a little bit. I was another meeting. But it's not a question, Avery, but as a comment, I have to say thank you. You and your amazing team, because I know it's not easy, what we're going through, but you guys will step up over there, support students, and that was amazing. I feel to cry. So it was so exciting to see all the students, how they speak, how they talk. I see lawyer, president, superintendent, sorry that they're gonna take your job. Lawyers, I see, I'm telling you, amazing kids that I didn't post yet the video because I already recorded each one of them. You're gonna see how amazing they speak, what strength, what they say, we need this, I want you need this. That's why you're there. They was amazing. Amazing. And they what I don't like is when people say, oh, Bristol Public School is failing because they don't give education, they don't teach our kids. Guess what? You're wrong. You're wrong. I was so proud to see all the students, how they speak, they talk about Rosario, Felipe, everyone. They was ready. We stepped back and we let him run the show. They was amazing. But thank you, Dr. Avery, for always there for your short time. You step in, you dedicate your time, and not only Monday to Friday, I know Saturday and Sunday too. Us, the board member, we do the same. And thank you for the team to be there. You guys be to the end, take care of our kids. I don't know what else to say, but I was very proud. I think I'm a hat for everyone, especially our students. They was ready. And I know the state over there, they see what we want, what we need. It was amazing. So I just want to say that for the record. So thank you, everyone. And soon, between today and tomorrow, everyone, they can go to my page because it's not private. You can see all the videos for all the students, how they speak to everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Dr. Avery.
Mr. Sakalovic and
Yeah, to Mr. Woodson's excellent point, to definitely need our students to know what they're talking about when they go up there. And on that note, as they sign up, could we have a 1-pager or something to distribute to them, or somebody on the bus to give them a little breakdown or whatever have you, so everybody's on the same page and actually understands what they're talking about, not just trying to get a day off of school.
all right, last question for Mr. Traber, and then we got to move on.
Yeah, I believe that we have a new explanation about the education cost sharing formula available on the website for the general public now to understand about the importance of revising and fixing the education cost sharing formula, which will affect all communities, all the poor communities in the state that have been adversely affected. Because you raised an excellent point, and that is what the purpose of the lobbying is to fix it. So for all the communities that are adversely affected, because it hasn't been fixed in 13 years. And it not only needs to be raised, the base rate, but the factors that affect children living in at or below the poverty level, children living in who are multi-language learners, children who are our special ed learners, all those factors need to be readjusted because the costs have changed in those 13 years. Now, I just want to be clear, an important point that needs to constantly be raised is while the overwhelming majority of communities adversely affected by this failure on the part of the state to adjust the formula are urban communities. There are a small pocket of rural communities who are also adversely affected by that. And it is important for us to recognize their existence too, because we want those legislators to support us too, realistically, and because they're being hurt, just like we're being hurt by this unfair formula. So
Thank you. We're gonna move on to new business. Dr. Avery. You have the ed specifications for the construction of a new pre-K through 8 East End Elementary School.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I'm going to have Ed Aram and George come to the podium. Ed is the state technical assistance team. He does the school finance for, he's in the district right now, supporting the district, myself, my team in the area of finance. So he's going to speak to this item, and then I'm going to have George and his team, provide a little bit of overview regarding the item moving forward. So Ed, you can introduce yourself and
Ed
the
Aaron.
community as well, so they can see your face.
I think I'm part of the family of
There you
Bridgeport now,
Absolutely.
because I've been here for a couple of months and everybody's been great to me, and why shouldn't they be great to me? No, I'm not a nice guy. No, but I really mean it, because I've been here probably 2 or 3 months, and whatever I asked for, I've received. The people have been great. The board even fed me, so I appreciate Al. So I just want to mention a couple of things. I've been in education for over 50 years. I've built a number of schools. I built a number of fields. One of the fields in Region 15 is named after me, the Ed Aram Athletic Field. And I turned to my wife and I said, I'm not even dead yet, and they have put it on. So it's good. Right now, I'm co-chair of a building committee in Torrington. We're building a 7 through 12 middle high school, $185 million, 310,000 square feet. So I've been in education for over 50 years. I've been building a lot of schools. Just background of what the state is looking for. Again, June 30th is the deadline for applications to submit to the state. That doesn't mean it's a time frame. And in December of 13, like every year, they come out with December of 13, 2024, they come out with their list of projects. So that's the same thing here. December 15th, DAS submits priority list to the governor and the education committee. By February 1st, the education committee submits approval for the priority list to the governor and general assembly. And usually right after the general assembly finishes, whether that's the middle of June or the end of June, the governor signs the priority list, sends out the letters to the schools so that reimbursement. Again, the legislature, the Senate who was here is in favor of the project. I know that the rest of the legislative body is in favor of it. They want to, with the additional grant, it's almost going to be 90% paid by the state of Connecticut if everything goes through. So I would love to see this pass. Remember, it puts a, what would I call it, into the state. Now, if things change, enrollments go up, just let you know what happened in Torrington. We put it in during COVID. During COVID, 167 children moved in, 63 from New York. We went back to the state and said, this is a problem. They said, no problem, we'll increase the square footage because of the number of kids there. They increased the square footage, and we went back to the state and they approved that. So it's a placeholder. Remember, you have to get it in by June 30th. The state does not give that priority list till December 15th to the legislature and to everybody else. So even though I'm just a partly family here, not a voting member or anything, but and remember when I met with the committee, with the Board of Ed, and I did a presentation, every Board of Ed, I shouldn't say, the ones who spoke up had questions or whatever, they said it's for the kids. You know, that's what we're here for, the kids. My kids are 51 years old and 46 years old. They have nothing in Torrington because they live in Atlanta and in Seattle, but I'm still a father for other kids here in Torrington. And now I'm a family, how would you call pot father? What would you call that? A stepfather, okay. A stepfather to Bridgeport, okay. What? I have my ring, but don't kiss it, please. It's the Jewish godfather, okay. So that's all I have to say. I really appreciate being here in Bridgeport. It is a family, and I'm a stepfather in Bridgeport.
Mr. Garcia.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start off by saying thank you to Ed and the technical team. We did have a chance to go over these projects with them. Having folks that we can sort of bounce things off and vet things is great to have in Bridgeport. As you know, we're stretched thin when it comes to resources, so we really appreciate having these folks in town giving us a hand. So this evening, we're looking for approval for 2 Ed specifications. One we'll start with is the East End School. The East End School is would be a K-8, 840 student, pre-K 8, I'm sorry, I keep saying K-8, pre-K 8, 840 student school. The school will be built on the old Harding site. We would tear the old Harding building down and rebuild a new school with a bright future for the kids in that area. With that said, we're looking to put all of the circulation, vehicular circulation on site, right? So everything will be done on site, parent drop off, bus drop off, all the utility work that needs to happen on a daily basis, deliveries, sanitation, recycling, everything on site. Playscapes on site also, outdoor classrooms. So it's a beautiful vision for that site. The site is a robust site of a little over 8 acres. So it gives us all land we need based on the state's requirements for the state grants. Any questions?
Questions for Garcia? Mr. Sakalovic.
Yeah, a few. First, I would want to start off by saying, let's just assume everybody in this room has the best interest of the kids in their heart, whether they're on side A or side B of any particular issue, because there could be differences of opinion and still be for the kids. Now, I'm not against Harding per se, but I do have some significant questions because we do have a facilities master plan. In the ed specs, they mentioned 3 schools being put into the school, and it says the separate schools. Are we going to have 3 different distinct schools within those buildings with 3 principals, 3 programs? Or is it all going to be 1 school, 1 principal, 1 program?
This is to be built as a singular school with 840 students.
So that language at the very least needs to be cleaned up because it says it's plural schools. The schools expect to have a 50-year life in the update, so that's a little misleading. And also, even having the schools' names included in the application when it's going to take a vote of the board to actually physically close those buildings that they're currently housed in, which may change because we're going to have an interceding election. By the time all this stuff happens, the whole board could possibly change and have a whole new vision for these buildings. And I've also reiterated, I mean, how are we planning on redistricting the students? All right, let me back up. If the city had sold Harding to the hospital and the plan did not fall through, what was the plan then? What was the backup plan?
That was one of those things that we couldn't answer. When we started this facilities master plan, we couldn't rest on our laurels, right? I think that, over the years, we haven't had the facts and data that we've needed to make these very strategic, pointed decisions that we're trying to make now. So as soon as we started getting this data and we started analyzing, saying, well, in this area, we know we have a need. We've discussed it in the past. about the vintage of the buildings, the conditions of the buildings, but now we had the concrete data that we needed to start to make proper decisions. With that said, myself, my team, PJ and his team, we started looking at every address in that zip code to see if there was a buildable spot in that entire zip code that made sense for that area. And unfortunately, there were two. One is the Remington old shot tower that was just taken down and remediation done. But when we did the feasibility on that, the internal review from our team, GE still holds the title, right? The environmental title. So if there's something found, they can have up to 20 years to remediate. The other thing is that because we have to remediate to residential standards, that becomes very difficult on a site like that. So we looked at the other available site, or the site that was still available because the deal was not complete, and that was the Harding site. As you guys hear me over and over say, driving by that building's heartbreaking, because when you look at it, it's just a dilapidated building that takes up the whole entire neighborhood. So we started talking about, needing the requisite acreage and having an area that was sort of a middle of the schools that we anticipated or potentially may close. We started looking at that site. We started looking at how we can build a site, how we can get circulation on site. We drew up a quick rudimentary. We drew up a budget. We had the budget vetted. We came very close with the construction company that did the budget for us. So we feel confident of where we are. But this is a game changer for the students in this area, because when you think about what we have in the three schools that, now mind you, this is a 4 to 5 year process. So there's plenty of time for us to embark on the journey that we have to when it comes to closing schools and doing that work that comes as part of our process and our policies. But when we look at these schools, we're talking about schools that have $60 million worth of needs based on the FCA, the Facilities Condition Assessment. And those are 100%, will be 100% on the shoulders of the taxpayers of the city of Bridgeport, because there is no reimbursement. We can't get a grant. It's just us repairing a building, not renovating a building, not bringing anything new into a building, changing a program piece, making them ADA compliant, none of that. Just strictly bring it to a healthy and safe state. So we don't do anything for the children in terms of programming, but at least we're going to a safe building, right? But with that said, when we started looking at the Harding site at $125 million, and we started thinking about what we can build, right, or what we intend on building, we said we need to do something energy efficient. So we looked at the process of how we can build a net zero school on that site, right? That's number one. Number two, we all know that we struggle with pre-K and finding how we're going to house the pre-K students, whether it's pre-K sped or pre-K regular. We have a struggle, right? We don't have classrooms with the requisite space or the restrooms in the classrooms. We've exceeded that, right? Because the need is so great. On top of that, we want to provide, through the leadership of Dr. Avery, we want to provide pre-K3 at a greater clip here in the city of Bridgeport, because parents need this, right? Parents need options for their youngsters. So when we started taking all of this, looking at the site, looking at the potential, this is how we came to the juncture of putting together this program at the Harding site.
Yeah, my next question point. This side of town, or this quadrant, is particularly hard hit. I would be a lot more comfortable with this if the facilities master plan was thoroughly debated, amended, and changed, because right now, as it stands, it seems the plan is to just redistrict that area. And I don't want to lock us into anything, because those three schools are on the application. So those three schools have to be on the application to get it approved. I mean, because we've been told before that we could change plans with the BMA. We were told we could reverse the plans, we could do something out. And that's one of the only votes I made that I really, really regret, is combining BMA and Bassick. Because as we see now, Bassick is going to be overcrowded in BMA, and we're locked in. And we've been told over and over, and Mr. Benahan in particular raised it up quite a few times early in the process, going through the years. Let's put it back, let's put it back. It was like, we can't, the application is already in. I do not want to lock us into closing three schools and have the next new board basically blackmailed. You lose this new school if you don't do what you said to do, that you're going to do. And that's my concern right there, because it is inequitable. Yes, we're getting a new school for that city, that portion of the city. And they deserve new schools. They deserve even rebuilt schools, new built schools, whatever have you. However you get there, every student deserves a clean, safe learning environment. However, yes, we're getting rid of the eyesore of Harding High School that has been there for years, boarded up, fired, vandalism. But we will be replacing it with 3 boarded up schools in the same area of town, depressing the property values and all that. Those are my concerns. And those concerns are centered around equity, and these discussions have never been had. And just redistricting the area in and of itself will make class sizes in that area go up only, rather than if you have a plan, rebuild a new Harding, this new school on the east side. Right? I'm not against the building. I'm against how we're getting there. To accommodate redistricting the entire district. This way, everybody feels safe, to right size the district without locking ourselves into closing a particular school. Because why should my neighborhood on the north end have the luxury of moving out of John Winthrop into BMA, burning the whole building and bringing them back? On that side of town, that's not even an option that's being discussed.
Can I address that right there?
Yeah, yes, sir.
The beauty of this program is that the youngsters will be able to stay in their home schools till the building is complete. So that, that in itself is gold to us, because, we don't have the redundant space when it comes to swing space. I mean, even the buildings that we're shuttering, there's the potential of maybe keeping one of those buildings, right? To have an additional space for critical emergency, or for when we need additional swing space for larger buildings. So these are things that we have to discuss as a group, right? We'll have that discussion based on data that was provided by the outside party. But another piece of what you said about the inequity, there's a major inequity in education in Bridgeport. And that's because we have newer facilities where children get to utilize the latest and greatest technologies. And then we have schools where they can't even plug in an additional appliance, right? Those children are not getting the same education as the other fellow students in other schools. So this is not something about us wanting to just build a school. This is about equity in education, and then keeping those youngsters in the same area. Because other options, if we had to shut the buildings down, right, is redistricting them and moving them throughout the city, which now is, what do we call it? Educational displacement. I learned a lot of stuff on cabinet and working with you guys. So it's been a journey for me. But these are the things that when we talk about what we're going to do moving forward, like I said, through Dr. Avery's leadership, we're looking at things from a whole different lens. We're not leaving any leaf unturned. We're making sure that when we come to you, we're being very clear on what our intentions are. So I understand that, you may want more time, but there's 4 years from us getting this application in as a placeholder to start to work through this. And I understand the heartaches will be MA and Bassick, but those conversations started fairly late in the game. If we would have had those conversations up front, understanding, or if we had the data from the facilities master plan to support how this district was going to look, we probably would have made different decisions. But we have the data now. We need to start making decisions. Every day we wait is another day that a kid or a child in the Bridgeport School District is not getting a proper education.
Thank you.
Mr. Traber? Microphone.
So just to finish your answer to Mr. Sokolovic's question, do you need to include the names of the schools we're going to close in the application?
Yes. Now, is there flexibility there? I'm sure the state will understand if we had to make some sort of a
Didn't
shift.
hear the answer to that.
Can you finish this? 30?
Yeah. He was speaking, I was
Yeah.
like.
I'm
going
sorry.
both ways.
So I think being early on in the process and understanding that we have a runway, right, a long enough runway, I'm sure the state would understand if we had to make minor adjustments to what it is that we're doing. Now, mind you, we're talking about our oldest buildings in our fleet, right? Our buildings that have the highest needs, right? We're talking about number in elementary schools, capital needs per square foot. Beardsley's number 1, Hall is number 2, and Edison is number 4. When you look at it from a different perspective and you look at this elementary school capital needs cost per student, right? because you got to start taking enrollment into account, right? You want to make the proper investments based on the largest need, right? You're talking about Hall is number 1, Beardsley's number 2, and Edison is number 3. These are not numbers that we're pulling out of the sky. These are the facts based on the facilities condition assessments.
I do understand. I just didn't hear you answer Mr. Skolovic's question. And I wanted to be clear about what the answer was about, did it have to be in there? For some reason, he was concerned based on his previous experience. I don't have that experience. So I was asking what the answer was. Did it need to be in there? Does it lock us in somehow? So you've now answered. I don't believe these are the oldest. Isn't Black Rock older?
Classical studies is the oldest.
Classical studies are the oldest in the
Forgot about
in the city.
classical studies. But Black Rock is older too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've just been fixed up. Yeah. I want to go on record as saying that, what I said last week, I say still tonight. We have not done an adequate job on reaching out to the folks living in my neighborhood, attending the schools in my neighborhood. And so we need to do that. I know that Dr. Avery doesn't disagree with me. I don't.
Do I?
I'm not saying something that is wrong. I also know, because I have continued to confirm it, as recently as this afternoon, I spoke with Andre Baker, my state rep, your state rep too, right? Who said that if we have an upswell of outrage over building this facility over the next 2 months, that we can withdraw this application. So this is not a locked in thing. But I have yet to talk to anybody in my neighborhood who is opposed to building a new pre-K to 8 school in our neighborhood. In fact, they're excited. The ones that I've talked to. Now, I don't proffer that as overwhelming evidence of support, because it's not enough people. It's anecdotal. So we need to show some evidence, and we need to build on that. But when you talk to people and you say, oh, look, it's going to be a brand new pre-K to 8. Right now, my granddaughter, who went to Hartford last Thursday, is going to the other side of town to go to pre-K 3. And that's what we're trying to avoid. We want people to be able to go to the same school in the same neighborhood, pre-K to 8. And under normal circumstances, she would go to Park City for pre-K 3 and 4. And then she'd come back and go to kindergarten at Edison. And then she'd go over to Luis Munoz Marin for 7 and 8. And then she'd go to Harding. 4 different schools. So that's what this would eliminate. This would make it 2 schools for her. So that's what people in that part of town are enjoying the thought of, and 2 new schools. Whoa. So once people realize that's what it was, instead of like being shipped off on a bus to some other part of town and then coming to Harding, they like that idea. So it's a limited, poll I've done in my own talks. So we need to build on that. And again, when I invoke Representative Baker's name, he wants to hear from the public first. But he also likes the idea of this project like me, but he wants to make sure that we have spoken to the public and we have given them an opportunity to be heard. And I had a similar discussion with Representative Felipe, a few weeks ago, the first time I talked to Representative Baker. So that's our duty. And I know that we'll do that over the next few weeks, and that'll be the beginning. And if that's still not enough, we have to figure out a better way to hear from the public. But I do think that we need to. This is and so I think that's the most important thing for all of us, is that we make sure that we reach out and hear what the people in the neighborhood think. Homeowners, parents, staff.
To your
So,
point,
yeah.
to your point, I think the community piece is the most important piece. There's something beautiful happening right now, right? I think when you think about what we've been doing, we've been getting out to the community, talking to folks. Not everybody can get here, but we're going to go to you, and we've done that. You know, we've had several forums. We've had forums in the housing projects. We've had forums at all 3 high schools. We're trying to engage as much as we possibly can. That's the intent moving forward. Now, you also were talking about how many folks went to the state and advocated, how many people are advocating. This is a powerful time for Bridgeport. This is a pivotal moment for Bridgeport. You know, we've constantly found a way to push opportunity away. It's time to embrace it.
It's, before I became a teacher, I spent 20 years as an organizer. We need to do better.
Yep.
And we have too many things going on between, no disrespect here, between the State Department of Ed and what they want us to do and the advocacy we're doing in Hartford, which is critical to our future, and this, which is critical. We have too many balls we're juggling, and it's just, we need to do a better job. And I understand why. I'm not trying to point a finger at anybody. It's just so many things we're trying to juggle that we need to get out there and make sure that we've done a good job reaching out to the public. You know, so the community meeting in Harding with less than 10 people from the public there, it's just not good enough, and we need to do better. And you know, I gave you my idea last week.
Mhm.
It's a good idea, but it may not be good enough either. There may be a better idea, and so we've got to try and do something to get folks out there and make sure that we've heard from them. And then we'll feel that, you know, because right now we're all arguing in a vacuum about what people think. And I think that I'm comfortable with what I'm hearing, that folks love the idea, but it's speculative at best.
And we don't disagree with anything you're saying. I think, Mr. Traber, when you look at it, that is the proper way to go. But I just want an understanding, so the board understands this, that even if we put in the application, there are no guarantees. Understanding, like the lottery, we're going to put an application up there at a certain point, and there's no guarantee we're going to come back and the state's going to say, yes, we're going to give you that money. Now, do we have a chance? We absolutely do, just like anyone else who puts in their application. For us, we just want to make sure we don't miss a window. We don't want to overstep and not do what's right, especially publicly. But we want to make sure when we're doing this, that we at least have an opportunity to put the application in and not miss it. Because if we miss it, then we got to wait, what is it, another
year.
Another year or two, Ed?
When the
Was that
focus changes.
2 years? 2 years.
And I'm completely comfortable with that,
Hmm.
given what I've learned.
Yep.
That in, you know, over the next 2 months, we make a good faith effort, we reach out, and there's an upswell of people saying, no way. We withdraw. It's not a big deal.
Mhm.
It's just not a big deal. But if as I suspect, there's an upswell of people saying, oh yeah, I love that idea. Then we go forward, and we go forward with a message from our neighborhood saying, yeah, we love this idea. We just love it. Not having to bounce our kids around to 3 different schools. We love that idea.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I think to close us off on this it's my understanding that this is the first time that the Bridgeport Public Schools, the city of Bridgeport, and the delegate, and even some state legislators, senators are all rowing in the same direction. Guys,
Yeah.
we have to take this opportunity and utilize it, and and hope for something great coming out of this opportunity. So, Madam Chair.
Mr. Benahan,
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll make a motion to approve the educational specification for the construction of a new pre-K to 8 East End Elementary School.
motion was made by Mr. Benahan, seconded by Ms. Casimir. Is there any further debate on this? As maker of the motion, Mr. Benahan, do you have any,
So, no.
Alvick?
Yeah, just a question. Do we have any idea at all how much this is going to increase transportation costs?
It may decrease.
It may decrease, but once again, part of this journey that we're hopefully going to embark on, because I see excitement and I love that, is the feasibility of everything, right? So part of this will be a feasibility and schematic design portion of this. So there's time for us to really analyze, and start to really understand And there's probably going to be some equalization of other schools that surround this. So I think this is all good for Bridgeport. This is good for the children of that area. So we have time to look at this.
Mr. Traber, then Ms. Casimir.
Yeah, we all received the letter from my councilwoman. I don't know how we could do it. That estimate until we've done our budget. I mean, it's a legitimate question, but until we do a budget, until we know for sure what the budget is gonna be, and how far kids are gonna have to walk, or we're gonna have to drive them. We're not gonna be able to do any of that stuff yet. All of that stuff is gonna not be known in another month or two, right? June 4th, when we get the.
May I respond to that really quickly?
Quickly.
Yes, as far as we already know where all the kids live. We already know where all the kids live. Put an if-then scenario into the population of the school, see how many would qualify for the buses, and just do a very, very rough estimate at the very least to have some idea, because, be ashamed to pull it back, because if say cost increase 2 million or whatever have you.
But I'll give you, for instance, when we opened Harding, we had an entirely different estimate of how many kids ended up wanting to go to Harding, because they had a brand new school in our neighborhood, and they suddenly didn't want to go where the superintendent's office was projecting they were going to go. They wanted to go to the brand new Harding.
Ms. Casimir.
Maybe 4 or 5 years out too.
Do we know roughly how many students are in Edison Hall and
Yeah,
Beardsley
we looked at it
altogether?
today, approximately as of today, 673.
Okay. And we don't know about if there's, when this new election comes and there'll be new board members elected, nobody could make any kind of prediction about whether they're gonna agree with this plan or not agree with this plan. I don't like to worry about things that I don't have control over. Mr. Garcia, you said $60 million it would cost to renovate those 3 schools. Is that $60 million each?
No, that's $60 million total to do all of the repairs that are needed.
So what's the way that I understand it is that it's just the repairs. It's not to make it ADA compliant, none of that other stuff.
No, so we will not make them ADA compliant. We will not be changing any aesthetic. We will not be being able to bring in any new programming based on the design of the building. Those buildings are no longer functional for a 21st century education. That's just the bottom line.
Right. And if it were up to me, I would move those kids out of that building until we move to the building. I know that we're supposed to do this process, but I wish to God that we can get those kids out of those buildings. It's just so bad. And yes, there will be 3 possibly abandoned buildings, but those buildings, let's say hypothetically speaking, the new school gets built, Edison Hall and Beardsley get vacated. So those buildings go back to the city. Is that correct?
Yep. So one of the things that we've been doing, and as part of our process with the Bassett decommissioning that we presented at the last facility committee meeting, is that we're engaging the city side. So we work with OPED early on because it's very important for us to start to have those conversations in advance. We want to be good stewards to the city, right? The city is going ahead and helping the funding of these buildings. And we want to be good stewards to that, right? So we're not going to hand back Bassett the way we handed back Harding, right? We're going to ensure that it's broom clean. We have photos. We have progress. We're about to walk Dr. Avey through so he can see it with his own eyes. And it's tremendous work that the teachers have done. The librarian, whose job is in question right now, has been a rock star at helping to get the library together. People believe in what we're doing, right? So it's important that we engage, not just ourselves, but we engage, like Dr. Avey said, everyone's got an oar in the water and they're rowing in the same direction. That's pretty powerful in Bridgeport.
And according to the policy, we would need to be out in the community, even before we shut these buildings or vacate these buildings. There still needs to be a policy and process where we go to the community and talk to them, et cetera. Yes?
Absolutely. That's part of the process. But I think in advance of the process, like Mr. Traber said, getting out to the community, letting them know the potential of what we're doing here is important, because there's a couple things that we can't forget about. There's a lot of stress A lot of trauma out there. We heard that Friday night about the trauma that parents are feeling, right? That hit me right in the heart Friday night, because I think about that also. I went to school here in Bridgeport. I went to Reed School. I graduated from Central Magnet, just like Jennifer. And I went to Reed School. We're doing some remodeling. And the same exact old battleship green desks that I sat at were in that building. I'm 51 years old. You get what I'm saying? There needs to be change here. It's time.
Last thing I wanted to say is thank you very much to you, to Mr. Carafa. I come and I visit you guys every so often. I speak with you. This job is just super enormous, and the dedication that you and your staff have to this and the grace, like Dr. Avery, that you guys are giving, I think is just commendable, and we're very lucky to have you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benahan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I have to say thank you to Mr. Ed Arum for be here, help us, and the other guys to guide us and help us what we have to do. I really, really appreciate your time to be here. For me, it's valued. I really appreciate that. I know. And Mr. Garcia and Mr. PJ, I don't know what else I have to tell you. I always tell you the same thing. And it's true, it's time to change. I know it's time not to do this because later we're not gonna have it. And a lot of people, they don't have this lucky time, like, we talk about it. And it's about the kids. People sometimes they don't understand what you guys do behind the scene. They have to you do your hard work. And you're doing this for the kids, and especially, for the parent to understand. Yes, we got negative outside, but I always say this, if you have any question, come to Dr. Avery, come to you, one of the board members, and we can give you the correct answer. But people sometimes they listen to negative stuff because we got negative, terrible people outside in the street.
Yeah.
They don't want to listen. They know we're doing the right thing. As I say, for the short time you guys are doing this, and be almost 20 years from the district, I don't ever see this amazing change we do it for the school. And I'm talking when Eastside Middle School was open, that was my school. And I was supposed to go to Harding, but I have to travel to the island. But I don't see a lot of change. Always, every year, it was something, it was something, it was something, it was something. It never was done. Now that we have this change, now we have this opportunity to change for the best for the kids. And you guys are doing many things because people they don't see. I know that every and some board members, they know what guys you do behind scene, weekends, hours, stuff like that. Your family, something you have to put your family on the side because you want to have your job done. And people, they don't see that. Not only you, us, the board member, the cabinet, everyone. But I'm very glad that you guys are doing something. I'm phenomenal job. I know it's not easy. I know it's a policy, it's a protocol, but the people, they think because you said the name of the school, oh, they're going to close the school, they will go crazy. No, we're not. We are not. For the record, we are not. Yes, we want new school. Of course we want new school. Who don't want not everything new? But not for this moment, because I know, like you say, it's a process within 3 or 4 years, but it's good you put up the application now so we can be ready. We don't waste it, like Mr. Marlon said. After what, if you don't do it now, we have to wait 2 years. And maybe we don't have it. But now we have the chance, let's do it. I agree with you and I'm okay with you, but I said thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Esther Jimenez.
I have two quick questions. The majority of them you already answered with my fellow board members. First question is, if we get, up to what point in the application process can we make changes? Can we make changes, minor changes, if we get awarded?
So, you want to keep the adjustments as minimal as possible, but understanding the dynamic of what's happening here in education throughout the state, I think that the state would understand if we needed to make strategic decisions or amendments based on new programming or the shifts in the district. Because as we start to roll out new programming and, we look at special ed and we look at pre-K, there's going to be some things that we've got to work out on the program side that may have an effect on what we're trying to build. The base building itself, the structure itself, the footprint itself will remain the same, but we may have to make a couple adjustments based on some changes as we work on bringing in new programming.
Yeah, and I think the other advantage is we have the technical assistance team with us. So while we're going along, they're in every step of the process, understanding, helping, guiding, and giving us, recommendations on what we need to do and where we need to go.
Perfect. And then you kind of alluded to this before, and I just want to kind of throw it out there as a suggestion. While we're building these new schools, assuming we get funding, can we please keep in consideration anything that can bring money back? Ideally, what my train of thought is, we should try to make these schools as sustainable as possible.
Absolutely. We want to build, so net zero is us building all of our utility on site. You know,
Yeah.
there's no other urban school district that's done that, but we've got a tremendous construction team that we work very closely with. And we feel that we can do that here. You know, we've got expertise on staff. I mean, I've got a savant in Mike Zirkle when it comes to energy. You see what he's done with the utilities in terms of LED lighting and the MOUs that he's been able to create with the utility. And we're exploring that even further with more solar and battery power. And I mean, we've talked about fuel cells at the JFK site. Listen, we are not going to stop here. We're not going to stop here. This is us getting a little stability for us to start building and moving forward in this district.
Awesome, thank you.
Mr. Medina?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair, gentlemen, you guys are standing at the podium. You know how I feel about everything. And I just want to make it clear that I am in support of, building another school in our community. I'm in support of doing better classroom, better buildings, efficient buildings, all of that. The only one thing, and I've asked for this through email. I just want to know what are the documents that are going to be representative of what our decision is as board members, because everything that you do should represent the vote of this board and not anything contrary. So we know the community has been lashing out, and we know they've been speaking about things. And I want to make sure that this school is being built not under the understanding of any other scenarios, respectfully. I just want to make sure that you guys know that, I respect you guys, but also I want you guys to know that we're watching the process and our community is watching the process, and we have to cross every T and dot every I. I want what's best for the city, but I want it done the right way always. That way we can stay above reproach. Thank you for your thing. We know that this democratic study across the district helped in some of these decisions, but what it spells out in those documents is not necessarily a board decision yet. So I want to make sure every document that's going up for this application or for these funds and to secure this to be reflective of what this board is representing. Okay? Thank you
Okay.
very much for your help.
So let me sort of couch that a little bit. So this ed spec is part of the resolutions that need to happen. You guys will be involved once we start talking about programming and all those things that are going to happen in the school. The greatness, the magic, like we talked about earlier, discovery, right? The magic is going to be when we sit down as a group to start to discuss what we're going to do in this building. So trust me, you guys are going to have plenty of time to ensure that, these decisions you're going to be part of. But end of the day, the city is taking the responsibility of building us a building, and then they turn it over. Bastick is not ours yet, right? I mean, we put a lot of effort and heart and soul into it, but it's not ours. Michelle hasn't given me the keys yet. But that day's coming, right? And, but those are the things that we've got to do as part of this program, is work together as a family.
All righty. Seeing no other questions.
Amen.
And to take a vote.
Sure, yeah, can do roll call.
We're gonna do a roll call vote. Mr. Benningham?
Thank you. Christine Baptiste Perez,
Yes.
Akeisha Casimir,
Yes.
Ms. Maritza Estremera Jimenez,
Yes.
Mr. William Medina, be back for him. Ms. Jennifer Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Joseph Sokolev,
No, with a quick explanation, while I believe we definitely need new schools and new facilities and well-kept facilities for our students, I think we might be locking ourselves into a potential problem that we could avoid by having more discussion about the facilities and the plan. We've got a couple of months before they get, till the end of June, make this decision.
Mr. Robert Traber. Yeah. Mr. Andrew Woodson. Going back to Christine Baptiste Perez.
Pass.
Mr. William Medina,
Once again, I abstain under the same that I think I need more information and I need to make sure every document that's being presented is going to be what the vote of the board is.
I'd like to get your vote, yes or no. I want to hear from you.
I'm a vote no. There's time to get the additional input.
Okay, so Mr. William Medina, what?
He's abstaining.
Abstain. Six yes, 2 no, 1 abstain.
Passes.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
The next item is the anticipation for the construction of a special program school.
Okay, so this is the second ed spec of the evening. This ed spec is for a specialized program on Madison Avenue at the current Skane site. This building will be pre-K through 12th grade, population of 263. This is a discussion that's been happening in the district for several years. The potential of starting to bring back or stop sending children out of district. As we started talking through leadership, once again, at Dr. Avery pushing us, we started talking about what are we going to do with this budget, right? We've all been going through all of these cuts and how do we find dollars within our own budget to start to bring back our people and stop the bleeding in terms of what's been going on here in Bridgeport. So we had a generalized conversation about wanting to do something like this. Skane was brought to our attention since we are combining Skane and Winthrop. That program is kicking off in December. So myself and Mike Zergo ran out to site. We started looking at the site, dreaming up what we could do there. And we realized that if we take down the building, there's so much potential for us to build a state-of-the-art facility for these youngsters, SPED, with all of the exterior outdoor classrooms, playgrounds, all of the things that they need to really have an enhanced educational program. So this is the current site. PJ or Dr. Avery, I'm not sure if you want to add anything.
I think that the add to that is that we are, in the process, we've already visited 2 sites, 2 specialized service sites in other districts. There's a couple of other new ones that are popping up as well that we're going to be trying to explore to see exactly what kind of programmatic things are in these facilities as well. So again, this is a great excitement. A lot of superintendents across the state and a lot of state legislation is coming out regarding supporting districts across the state of Connecticut and this approach. Again, this would be an opportunity to get the dollars and the funds to build the facility in district, and bring some of those dollars back into district. So we're very excited about the opportunity and would support the vote from the board.
Board members, are there any?
Approximately how many students do we have out of district right now?
So I am happy to say that at the beginning of the school year, this group that we're talking about was a little bit over 300. We counted today, and it's about 252 students.
So the work is already started.
And is this building for students who are in, what is it called? The secluded, what is it called? The classes where they're not integrated? Self-contained, thank you. These are all of these students will be students who are in self-contained classes?
It'll be a mixture of kids. We have some kids that are in the district currently that's being serviced in the district. So as we redesign programs, we'll figure out which kids are going to be the best served in the new facility. So it's a possibility. Those decisions are based on the PPT meetings at the individual campuses, and then looking at the students that are out of district placements and bringing and having those PPTs to consider some of the programmatic things that we will redesign in the district. So it's a variety. And depending on what we place in the new facility is how we bring them back. Some kids will not be able to be brought back to the district due to the severity of their disabilities. But yes, it's going to be a wide range of those possibilities, self-contained and non-self-contained.
Okay, and I know that this is the least restrictive environment. I know that's what we always push for. So just because a child is identified as special ed doesn't mean that all special ed kids are going to be in this building. I just want to make sure people understand.
That is correct, because the least restricted environment approach is meaning that we want to make sure that those kiddos have the same opportunities as regular ed students have and be exposed to regular ed settings as much as possible. So you may have a kid that may go to that center, if we design it that way, half a day, but then they may be in a regular facility within our school district being served in that capacity as well. So it's a variety of different things. We're going to be transforming how we do our special ed business in the district moving forward. And so that's the possibility as well. So again, there's a lot of thought that has to go into programming of this new facility. So those things will be taken into consideration.
Yeah, because when I look at it and it says 263 students, even though we have special ed students scattered around the district, I just feel like 263 is just so low for a district this size. And I just wanted to make sure that we have enough space for what it is that you're envisioning.
And remember, this is a specialized center. So what the process that we'll do is look at of the 300 or the 250 students that we serve outside of the district. You look at the number of kids at each of these facilities and why are they there? You know, what type of program does those buildings have that we don't? And so as we build and look at those individual facilities, you know, we may have a facility that service 50 of our children, right? So we look at the disabilities of those children, the services that being provided in those facilities, and we try to replicate that in-house. So when we go back to PPT and we say, well, we have those same facilities, you know, in the district now that we didn't have a year or two ago, and now we want to provide those services in-house. So that's how you evaluate bringing those children back into the district. So it's a process. You know, sometimes parents leave the district because they weren't happy with the services and the programs that we, at the time, kids were out district. We didn't have those services in district. So parents have a choice, right? So they chose to be outside of the district to do that. So, but now the district says, we can now service your child, and we want to make sure we give them we want them back in our schools. And so that's the process.
Ms. Baptiste Perez?
How much is spent on out-of-district placement?
Buddy.
Yep.
$51 million.
Can you just clarify my understanding of what was the $115 million? Is that just special education overall?
Yes, it is a special education, both transportation, out of placement and out of town placement. It's all inclusive of all special education, both teachers, everything relative to special ed, both in-house and out of district.
For clarity, I think that 51 million is for tuition paid to our district.
Out of district and transportation too, but it includes out of district transportation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Traber?
Some of these costs that we're talking about now are in our budget for next year that we're gonna try and save. We budgeted to try and save, I believe it's 2.5 million. 2.5 million? I can pull my sheets out, but I think it's 2.5 million next year in special ed costs. I would assume some of that is
Absolutely.
money that we would be, you know, you said we're already saving money. Some of that is money that we're going to continue to try and already save. long before we ever get this school.
Yes,
Bill.
sir. And because right now we are in the process of still looking and evaluating students
Yeah.
to bring back to the district.
Yeah.
And we do that year long.
And as we evaluate,
Right. And so we tried to estimate a savings.
Yeah.
And so we figured we could at least get the $2 million, but most likely it'll be a little bit more than that. But we just wanted to kind of, capture a good amount at the $2 million rate.
okay, I just want to be clear. Thank you.
Mr. Benahan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Make a motion to approve the educational specification for the construction of the special program at school.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Benahan, seconded by Mr. Sokolovich. Mr. Benahan, do you have anything to add?
No.
Anybody else have any debate? Mr. Sokolovich?
That's one question. Will this project be competing with the new East End School project for the same dollars? And what's the likelihood of getting both approved?
They're sort of separate. So obviously, when it comes to special ed and pre-K, they're looking at things from different buckets. The reimbursement rates are even different. So the reimbursement rate for this program is 95%. So it's a tremendous deal for the taxpayers, the students, the teachers, everyone. It's just exciting.
Thank you.
See no further, Mr. Benahan?
Thank you, sorry. It's a comment, just for the record, people understand. I know this, special program school that they're trying to do is the first one and the first time in Bridgeport.
Yep.
All right? People maybe they don't understand, but I want you to clarify a little more. So it's the first time we have this in Bridgeport. So parents, they understand all special education students will be here, not gonna be travel to another town or nothing like that. Because sometimes I know parents, they say, oh my God, I have to travel. What time my kid is gonna come in? So parents, I want parents to understand your son or your daughter is gonna be here in Bridgeport. And this is the first time that, we talk about it. It's gonna be some amazing school we're gonna have in Bridgeport. Can you give a little details fast?
He's gonna
I
take that.
I can explain it to
Okay,
you.
go ahead, Doctor.
The school is not going to bring, not every kid is going to or is going to be able to come back to the district for those services. But the kids that qualify to be brought back to the district will be able to have access to that particular school. In addition to that, we may have other programs that we're trying to revamp as well. So it may not necessarily be that specific school. It may be one of the regular campuses that we have programs that we've revamped and enhanced a little bit. So I won't say specifically they'll be back at that school, but we're trying to bring them back to the neighborhood, environment as we build this school. That's why the enrollment is very low, in an opportunity for us to really make sure we do this thing right. And when we do it right, then we're able to expand it based on the facilities that we have. And so as we build it, we take our time, we do good at what we do, we build the programs that's going to be important for student development within that educational environment in the building, and then we expand as we see fit.
Thank you for clarification, and it's amazing. And the good thing is that it's the trust that parents, they will have us to understand what we care and we want the best for our children. Thank you for that. No more comments, Madam Chair.
No other questions? You can go ahead and take a vote.
Can I have a roll call, please?
There's gonna be a roll call vote. When you're ready.
Christine Baptiste Paris,
Pass.
Akeisha Casimir,
Pass.
Ms. Maritza Somera Jimenez,
Yes.
Mr. William Medina,
Yes.
Ms. Jennifer Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Joseph Sokoliff,
Yes, with an explanation. It speaks for itself and doesn't need an explanation.
Mr. Robert Traver, Mr. Andrew Woodson.
Yes.
Going back to Ms. Christine Baptiste Paris. Going to Keisha Casimir.
Yes.
Go back again to Christine Baptiste Paris.
Yes.
9. Madam Chair, we pass.
All done, right?
Yep,
All right.
good.
Full.
I want to thank the board the city council, the delegation. And for the cabinet, the technical team, I don't want to leave anyone out. This has been a journey. So, and communications, everybody, and Nestor.
Everybody.
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you, everyone.
Alright. The next item on the agenda, I'll explain it, for our trainings, our board trainings. CABE has covered the cost of, well, through our membership, they've covered, the cost of the trainings and, through the use of the technical assistance team coming to our trainings. So there has been no cost to the 4 trainings we've had. Nick Caruso reached out to me about our 6th training in June, where he would like to have a representative come in to speak on communication and community engagement. He mentioned it at the last training or 2 trainings ago that it may come with a price. So he did send over, it's in your packet, the quote. There is a price since he's from out of state for travel and lodging, and as well as he's a consultant, so his fees, and that is $4,800. This is so far the only thing we have to pay for training. So this is just on the table for now if you have any questions. So there is a motion to approve.
Second.
And there's a second motion by Mr. Traber, second by Mr. Benahan. Do either of you have any comments on that before I open it up to the rest of the board? Any other comments from the board before we take a vote? Mr. Sakalovic?
Yeah, is it required that we use this particular person? I mean, I found the guy awesome at the cave retreat. He spoke and quite capable, but as we know, we're in dire straits and every penny counts. It might seem like a small amount, $4,800, but you watch the pennies, the dollars take care of themselves. And that being said, it's likely being approved, but could we possibly reach out to the state since they're mandating that we undergo this training and it's an unfunded mandate that they front us the money for this program?
To my understanding, we can cover the cost of the trainings. So if you vote no, we can, Nick will, if the board decides to vote no, then Nick will do the training himself or try to get another consultant from CABE. But he's highly recommending this speaker for this training. Mr. Traber?
I would simply ask the chair to make inquiry with the state, but in the meanwhile, I'd like to pass the motion.
Any further questions? Go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
Thanks, Sakala.
All right, there's one abstention. Just one final thing, Ms. Stevens has left letters for everybody for inviting us to the graduation for adult education. There's also an email. Just make sure you RSVP for that. That's on June 4th. Is there any further topics to bring up? Anything?
Can I just have one question?
Ms. Casper?
Dr. Avery, do we know how many board members have paid for their tickets for the district-wide talent show that plan to go? Do you have a number?
I don't have an accurate account right now, but I could.
I think we have a meeting coming up, so you can let me know.
I will definitely have
Okay.
that. Yes,
Thank you.
Anything else? So anybody want a motion to adjourn? Moved by Mr. Benahan. Second by Mrs. Jimenez. All in favor? Any opposed? We're adjourning at 8:23. Have a great night.
8:23.